Welcome back, everyone. It's June 2024 and the Olympic trials are just around the corner. Today I'll be analyzing Jordan Chiles on all events: floor exercise, beam, vault, and bars. The two competitions that contribute to qualifying to an Olympic team are the nationals and the Olympic trials. Then there's a selection committee that also weighs in on who should be on the Olympic team. The selection committee considers the athlete's rank, performance, consistency, and who has the best potential for winning a medal in the Olympics. After completing the national championships, Jordan sits in 5th place. It's not as high as the ranking she would like, but she's still a silver medalist on the vault and the floor at the World Championships. She has a history of being pretty consistent, and she's also a very solid and aggressive gymnast. Jordan had some mistakes at the nationals, so I view the Olympic trials as an opportunity for her to move up the ranks. Let's get started with her analysis on the floor exercise. She mounts with a full twisting double layout. When we look at a side-by-side comparison of the 2021 Olympic trials and now, they both look very solid. She does hers a little bit different than most other gymnasts. She does a layout full in where most do a full out. That just means her twist is mostly in the first flip instead of the more common second flip. Here's a side-by-side of world champion Angelina Melnikova that does a layout full in as well. Angelina has a slight leg separation, where Jordan has very tight form here, but they both finish the full twist identically and they both have very comfortable landings. In this side-by-side with Simone Biles' full out, we can see the difference in the timing of their twists. Different techniques, but both done very nicely. Her second pass is a layout front with a full twist into a round-off back handspring tucked full in or full twisting double back. This is a side-by-side of 2022 World Championships with the 2024 Nationals. At Worlds, she did 1.5 twist into her full in, but these look very similar and flow very smoothly into her full in back out in both versions. Here is her very trendy wolf turn. She normally does a double wolf turn, but it seemed that she'd spin as far as she could until she got off balance. Her leaps are dynamic and aggressive. She always has nice height and they're very dynamic. She has adequate split but not oversplit. She has a spring to her movements within her choreography. She has a strong dismount with a very comfortable and well done double layout. The one on the left from the 2024 Nationals she does as her dismount. The one on the right is from a past routine she does as a mount. They both look very solid and she's seemingly very consistent with her double layout. She's done other very nice and difficult combinations in her floor routine, but it seems that her 4 major tumbling passes are pretty set for the Olympic trials. Moving on to bars. She starts on the low bar with a glide kip cast to handstand. All throughout her bar routine, she's very consistent at hitting vertical or very close to vertical in her handstands. Here's her shaposh, and her half turn is very high, tight, and clean form, and very efficient distance from the high bar. She has good rhythm and flow on this combination. Now to another kip cast to handstand, very vertical handstand. This is a blind change or a giant with a half turn into a good handstand position. Good execution and tight body. She clears the low bar with her feet very comfortably and with good momentum before her pike Jaeger or pike front re-catch. She has a slight and brief leg separation in her swing before her Jaeger, but her form throughout her front flip re-catch is very tight and very clean. In this side-by-side with herself from the 2021 Olympic trials, she's actually in a tighter pike with better toe point in her execution now. Here's her pike toe on soul circle to a full pirouette. She micro adjusts in her pirouette to try to hit more of a vertical handstand. She's just slightly over here. She's very clean on her tap beat or her swing before her pike Tkachev or reverse het. It's important to kick your legs up and have a bend or pike in your body at this point, so when you throw the bar behind you, you can throw your feet back down, and that helps with the counter rotation in the Tkachev. Although she's a bit tight in her shoulders in this position, she has such a strong throw and counter rotation from throwing her feet down, she cleanly and easily rotates her pike Tkachev comfortably to catch the bar. Her pack salto or layout backflip from the high bar to the low bar is very clean. When we compare this sequence to the then and now, they look very similar and are equally solid and clean. She has a fast and big overgrip as she reaches to the bar after her Maloney done very clean. She has a slight leg separation on her backswing, but she's about to do a ginger or a flyaway half-turn re-catch, so she's trying to get her backswing as high as possible to generate power to go into her ginger. With a strong kick at the bottom of her swing, she does this ginger very clean and comfortably, even though it's out of a very small swing. In the side-by-side of her then and now, she stays clean throughout her ginger, and again, because she has such a strong kick in her swing, the flip of her ginger rotates very quickly. Now onto her kip handstand into a solid clean handstand. She keeps her head in and a very tight body in her giant swing that creates more power for her half in half out or full twisting double back dismount. She finishes her half in half out very high and has plenty of time to focus on the floor and focus on sticking her landing. Then and now she was very consistent with her mechanics in her half in half out. Really solid bar work. Now onto beam. She mounts with a piked front flip onto the beam. This has a value of an E compared to a tuck front which only has a value of a D. Then she moves into her acro series, a standing back handspring into 2 layout step outs. In her second day at Nationals, she did fall on this series. She often brings her hands down to her side after each acro skill as a micro adjustment. This helps lower her center of gravity and maintain balance. Many gymnasts put their arms to the side as stabilizers after their acro series. Each athlete finds their most comfortable way to stabilize their balance. She is historically pretty consistent on this series, so I think at the Olympic trials, if she hits this, it will definitely help her move up in the ranking. Here's her aerial walkover, leap into a back handspring series. She keeps a good fluid rhythm on this series. On her aerial walkover, she keeps her head back looking at the beam until her foot touches the beam, and then she stands up making any micro adjustments she might need. Very nice. There's a little bit of pike in her straddle leap here, but the split is very good and very well controlled. In her full turn, if she would have to adjust, it was mostly to the right side. This is her side flip. And on the left side, we can see she does a very good job to fight and stay on the beam. It's much more difficult to adjust your balance when you're leaning back than when you're leaning forward. On her split leap series, she shows adequate flexibility but good control and rhythm. She is historically comfortable and consistent in her split leap series. On her side aerial, she spots the beam very well and micro adjusts as she lifts her chest up out of the aerial. This is a switch leg side split leap. I like the way she has her hands over her head. It makes her look more free from the beam. Now onto her dismount. It's a round off double pike or double backflip with straight legs. This looks very comfortable for her, and I imagine she's mostly focusing on sticking her landing. Very nice work. Now onto vault. Her 2 main vaults are a round off half turn onto the vaulting table, layout, branny, or a front flip with a half twist. Her primary vault seems to be a Yurchenko layout double full or Yurchenko with a laid out double twist. I believe she's going for consistency on vault because she does both her Yurchenko double full and half on branny off so easily. It seems to me she could upgrade pretty easily if she chose to. She gets on the vaulting table very low with good form and blocks the vault with her body still rising off the springboard. After 1 full twist, she has very nice height and clean form, and now all she has to do is a backflip with a full twist. And she does this very easily, having plenty of time to spot the landing. I definitely think she could add another half twist and upgrade this to an Aminar or a 2.5 twisting Yurchenko. But at this point, for Olympic trials, consistency is a much bigger priority. Here's her round off half on layout branny or front with a half twist. She hits the hot spot of the springboard. She comes on a little bit high here, and that'll help with her flip rotation speed, but it's going to minimize the height she can get. This is good arm throw into her layout branny, and easily rotates her twist and flip so she can see the ground and focus on the landing. Right here is where she'd initiate the Rudy if she wanted to learn a chun vault or 1.5 twist off the vault. Jordan was a member of the 2021 Olympic team and has been through the process of making an Olympic team before. She knows how to prepare for the intensity of an Olympic trials. Floor and vault are her 2 best events as she's powerful and acrobatic. Again, part of the game is doing difficult skills but also being very consistent, and if you fall on your very difficult skill, it kind of defeats the point of doing a harder skill. That's always the risk. As always, thanks for checking out my video, and I hope you enjoyed it, got some value out of it. Feel free to like and subscribe as it helps me bring you more content. Also, feel free to share any thoughts you might have in the comments. Until next time, rock on!